Oi you, it's time for another episode of Dorothy and the Dealer. Let's tune into the conversation.
Thank you for the music, the songs we're singing. Thanks for all the joy we're bringing.
Yeah.
Who can live without it? I ask in all
You're too
honesty,
much of an ABBA fan.
What could life be without a song or a dance? What are we? So I say thank you for the music, for bringing it to me.
Do you know what that reminds me of?
I have no idea if I got any of those.
Yeah, you
lyrics
did.
right.
You actually did really well. It actually reminds me of smoky pubs in Dublin that my parents
Really?
used to drag me to when I was a kid. Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah. If they couldn't get a babysitter, they'd drag us out, and we'd be, literally. And there'd be a sing song at Christmas time, and that's the sort of stuff they'd be
Really?
singing ABBA songs, and
I liked
Elvis
ABBA. I grew
Presley
up with ABBA. I grew up with Elvis Presley, so I love that. I've got them both on vinyl, because I love listening. I mean, it gets played a lot, so I like some of the more less common ones, do you know what I mean? But still,
yeah.
I do like my ABBA.
Yes. Anyway, thank you.
Exactly, thank you. So we talk about it a lot, right? But we've been asked, or we get asked a lot about just getting clear on gratitude and how we talk about gratitude and just making it clear. So what we're going to do is we'll talk about it a little bit and give some concise sort of actual steps that you can take in terms of getting grateful. But I think first up, we need to talk about the difference between what's commonly known as gratitude and what we consider to be gratitude, because there's a difference, right? One of them we call pseudo gratitude and one of them we call true gratitude.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that a minute? Because I know you.
So pseudo gratitude is really where people are not wanting to actually feel something, right? So it's kind of very shallow level of I'm so grateful for my garden. I'm so grateful for the sunset and that sort of stuff. Which is if you got a good garden, everybody's grateful for the garden. You know what I mean? And if it's a good sunset, I mean everybody's grateful for the sunset. But that's not true gratitude. And it's pseudo. I mean it's a level of gratitude, but it's not the level of gratitude that you want.
I think that oftentimes.
And
this is not true for everything, but a lot of what the pseudo gratitude is people being grateful in quotation marks about things that are positive that have happened to them, and things that are good in their lives. But true gratitude runs a little bit deeper because you can be truly grateful for everything, not just the light stuff, but also the stuff that you perceive as dark. You know what I mean? Instead of being just
it's only dark because it's only dark because you haven't shown any light there.
Correct.
Or you haven't
That's
seen the
what I'm
light
saying.
in it. And we need dark events to turn up in our lives because dark events allow us to harness certain qualities and certain characteristics about our personality that allows us to affect our personal reality.
Yeah.
So the difficulty is when people hear gratitude, they go straight to that part of them that goes, but I am grateful for things. And it's like, but the gratitude you're looking for has to be to create a new reality, has to be far outside any levels of gratitude you've ever experienced in your life.
Correct, yeah.
Because as we say all the time, great statement from the great Joe Dispenza, gratitude is the emotional signature that an event has occurred, and the emotional signature that an event has occurred is gratitude. Meaning, when you get to, when somebody, buys you a new car, or the partner turns up and at a time when you really need them, and you experience that level of gratitude, that means the event has occurred. And so the thing about gratitude is gratitude occurs in most cases after the event has happened, right? And it's a signature that the event has happened. Yeah?
Yeah.
And so therefore the gratitude that people experience in their lives is based around what they call their lives right now. Yep. And what they're doing is they're waiting on these things to happen in the future for them to feel more gratitude, right? But the thing is that the key really is to experience greater and greater levels of gratitude for your reality outside of what you've already experienced. And the only way to do that
outside of what you've experienced.
Outside of what you've already experienced is that you have to look where you perceive it's never been.
Yes.
And you have to challenge yourself to go, okay, so if I look where I perceive it's never been, then you're going to experience different levels of gratitude and true levels of gratitude because you're doing the work.
Before we go into the 5 steps, I just want to, I've spoken to you about it before. I don't know if I've mentioned it on a podcast before, but a really cool example of this, I use light and dark. That's not, I don't mean it like that. I'm just trying to do it as the best approximation to, But Bruce Almighty, if you've watched Bruce Almighty and you watch the outtakes and the deleted scenes from Bruce Almighty.
Right.
In the outtakes, remember the part where God gives Bruce, or where Bruce becomes God and he's answering everyone's questions. Yes, I'm going to give you what you need.
Yeah.
Well, in the deleted scenes, there's sections where Morgan Freeman as God explains to Jim Carrey as Bruce Almighty that this guy that you said yes to, right? Yeah. He was supposed to become, he was being bullied at school, and you made him overcome the bullies, but instead he was supposed to become some great writer. Yeah. And he never did that because he never had that.
What he needed from the bullying.
He didn't get what he needed from the bullying. And then this person over here, this woman, you gave her the money, but in her not having the money, she was going to reach out to her sister and reconnect after 30 years or whatever. Yeah. And then he talks about Lance Armstrong, but he basically says that in order to create beautiful art, sometimes you have to use dark colours. Yeah. And I really like, even though they're deleted scenes, it's a good indication of what these people don't look for gratitude in this place. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? They don't look to see where they can be grateful for what this is actually showing them. They're just looking to, get rid of that out of their lives.
Yeah,
so being grateful. I mean,
that's the problem with desperate situations bring out extraordinary qualities in people. Do you know what I mean? And that's why you should never rescue desperation. You shouldn't. You just should say no to rescuing that stuff. The best thing to do in those moments is to ask the person questions that empower them. As to how does it enable? How's this enabling you? What's it teaching you? What's it showing you? What's it giving you? How's it encouraging you to be?
So, in understanding that there's pseudo gratitude, which is just quite it doesn't mean it's not, there doesn't have merit, but it's quite a shallow level of gratitude, meaning that it's just skimming the surface. Yeah. True gratitude, how we see it, is at a depth where we wouldn't have experienced this. It's out of our current realm of understanding of gratitude. So it takes us to another level, yeah? So let's talk about then, in terms of broadcasting gratitude, in terms of becoming gratitude, some of the steps, there's 5 steps, right? Yeah. So the first step is vision. So it's about seeing what you want, being able to clearly visualize what you'd love in your life, right?
And that's that's in detail.
Yes.
Like you have to see how you want something to roll out. What is it you want in your life? And you got to see it in detail. Yeah. And it can't just be imaginary. It's got to be something that is perceivable to your mind and can also be perceptible to your senses. So it must be something that is real. Like you can't go, okay, what I want to have come about is I want to be on Mars, right? Because that's not realistic. It maybe in 50 years for sure, but right now that's not realistic. So you've got to have things that are realistic, that are conceivable to the mind, perceptible to the senses, and that are real and are in detail.
So what this is about is really attaching an image to what you'd love, right? Now, the next step is feeling, right? So matching the feeling of gratitude. Now, particularly this works with people who've attended Relationships in You, right? Yeah. Because if you match the feeling of gratitude that you achieved in Relationships in You with the vision, then you create a congruency between the two. So let's just talk about those people first. Now, people who've done Relationships in You, the reason that it's different is because when they did Relationships in You, they experienced a level of gratitude that was outside of any level of gratitude that they had experienced prior.
Correct.
And it was because of the fact that they looked at a portion or a part of their life that they were certain there wasn't gratitude to be found there.
Yeah.
And as a result of actually looking there, they experience a level of gratitude that they'd never experienced.
Yeah.
So when you have a vision that you want for your life and you're clear with what that vision looks like, if you can match that vision with the level of gratitude that you experience at relationships in you, and you create a congruency between the vision and the gratitude, then you have an alignment of energy. You have an alignment of what's the best way to explain? A congruency between the vision and connecting that vision with the gratitude that you've felt.
Yeah.
Because if you can connect it with the gratitude, that's when you don't have to wait then for the event to show up before you experience the gratitude for it.
Yeah, it's what we coin causing the effect.
Causing the effect.
So it's where you are showing up responsibly and accountably in the event. You're not relieving it up to the universe. You get that you are the universe. You are the channel for the universe. You are turning up in that event with a feeling of gratitude that is over and above, like as if that has actually happened. But let alone has the miracle occurred, but also the feeling that you have been actively involved in as a co-creator of your reality, and the amount of gratitude that comes about as a result of that, of realizing for the first time, holy shit, I am actually creating the whole thing. Life is listening to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I am the one who's actually doing it, not just, oh my God, the boyfriend turned up because I was feeling gratitude as if this boyfriend was going to turn up, and hey presto, he turned up. No, the gratitude is also this sense of oneness with the logos. Like, you are the conduit. It's all happening because you're thinking, you know, and then it makes you giddy. Like, you start to laugh and realize, fuck, people don't know this.
Simple,
This is so simple. This is what life was trying to tell me the whole time. And here I was, you know, expecting it to show up in another way. And look at the way it actually turned up. Oh my God, look at the synchronistic series of events, the people that I met, how it all rolled out. It's just so beautiful. Like, it's just so beautiful that you're in that sense of absolute awe, you know, that co-creator, you know, I'm the co-creator of my reality.
Yes.
And I'm actively turning up in it. And the fucking bonus is that you know, the event happened.
Yeah. So before we get to the next step, though, so the first step is seeing it, the next step is feeling it.
Yep.
If some people haven't had that experience of gratitude outside their current realm because they haven't attended relationships in yet, right? So you've got to do the closest thing to gratitude that you've felt.
Well, it's like your body should tingle.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes. But so then it might be, you might have to connect. Maybe maybe you felt that like an extreme level of gratitude when the child turned up, or maybe when something else happened in your life, and you can resonate with a certain level of gratitude. If you haven't attended relationships, and the place that you look is wherever you perceive that you had the most amount of true gratitude, then align that, align the vision with that. Yep. But the key, though, is actually not just seeing it, but seeing it and feeling the gratitude of it showing up. Yep. Now, once you've done that, the next step is broadcasting. So broadcast the gratitude with intensity. Broadcast a feeling of true gratitude. So do you want to describe?
So that's really sitting in that space of gratitude and allowing yourself to feel that sensation as if the energy of gratitude is actually flowing out of you.
So it's a conscious broadcast of
but
that.
It should naturally happen. Do you know what I mean? So how do you consciously broadcast? Well, you see it, you feel it, now you're consciously broadcasting. And you see it with intensity, you feel it with intensity, and you broadcast that intensity frequently, meaning as often as you can.
So a good way to do that is literally to, I don't know, put a reminder on your phone.
Yeah.
Put reminders on your phone. Like we're going to talk about like how you can do this in everyday life and how life can show you that that's the next step.
Yeah.
But in terms of actually being conscious of it, you can actually put aside time for it, set aside times of the day, put reminders on your phone at random times where you actually have to stop and consider and broadcast that gratitude out.
Yeah, because people
you got to remember.
People will deliberately brush their teeth.
Yes.
But they won't deliberately create their reality.
Yeah.
And so you got to make it something that you deliberately do every day.
Yeah.
You know, and it's got to be daily.
Yeah.
It's got to be a part of your ritual.
Yeah.
You know?
So then the next part is that, right? The next step is doing it frequently. Now, doing it frequently, understanding to broadcast it is a conscious choice. Doing it frequently is watching out for signs like the times you would normally get angry.
Yeah.
Use that, or emotional.
Yeah.
Pissed off, whatever, using that as an opportunity to go back and broadcast gratitude.
Yeah.
So oftentimes we get triggered to our anger response because somebody cuts us off in traffic or because a person behaves or speaks in a particular way, right? Rather than using that as your trigger point to anger or frustration or whatever, you can use that as a trigger point to gratitude. You can use that as a sign to go, check into the gratitude, check into broadcasting that energy of gratitude as a conscientious choice.
Yeah. And life is triggering us all the time, right? And it's really irresponsible to be triggered irresponsible. I always look at it as an irrelevant response, right? Meaning it's irrelevant to where it is you're trying to get to, right?
Yeah.
So people have irresponsible responses to things. Certain things happen and then they respond irresponsibly. So they get mad or pissed off or angry or shitty or scream out the window or that. And instead of going, okay, well, maybe that's a sign for me to actually take responsibility for how I'm feeling and what I'm broadcasting into life. You know, because life is listening. You're whispering to it all the time. You know, it's listening to you. It's creating a reality based on what you're formulating. So what do you want to truly formulate?
Exactly. So it's like, who do you want to show up as?
Yeah.
And does that person give a shit about somebody cutting them off in traffic or whatever?
Yeah.
Or have they got bigger things to focus on, bigger things to put their energy towards that?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because so much of our energy is put into broadcasting anger,
Yeah.
broadcasting frustration,
Yeah.
broadcasting annoyance,
Yeah.
broadcasting lack.
Yeah.
And if you can transfer that energy by frequently broadcasting gratitude, then life starts to feed back to you gratitude. And that's the part of the next step, right?
Yeah.
The last step is like literally asking for that, making a request, asking for signs that show life, asking unpredictable signs that life is showing you, feeding back to you that you've broadcast with gratitude.
Yeah.
So unpredictable signs are things that literally you could not have anticipated.
You could never
and utilising that, like asking for it,
Yeah.
and then utilising that as a sign that you have broadcast gratitude.
Yeah.
And you've broadcast it frequently with frequency.
Yeah, and then so life will feed back you because you're a feedback system.
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing about it is, look, what did I have happen to me today? I had one of the clients speak to me this morning, and today she just registered for Inspired Life with me, right? So to become one of my personal clients. And she said to me, you know, when I walked up and I registered, she said, I was really shaky. But she said, I just knew that what you were saying was right.
Yeah.
She said, today, I have my boss ring me. He's just put me, the position I was trying to get, I was only doing X amount of hours per week, the position I was trying to get, just after he rang me, the girl who held that position had walked out. And she said, so he put me in and then gave me a pay rise over and above what the girl was getting because now I'm fulfilling two roles. And he said he's going to get her an EA to help her. Crazy.
That's so cool.
But that's what happens.
So
I said to her, so do you think that's, I said to her, I mean, this is supply and demand, hon. You put the demand on, the supply follows. That's how it is.
Yeah.
But people people just don't get that. What's the greater demand, the supply is going to follow. What's the greater demand, the supply is going to follow. That's how it works.
So the key though is that you have to be open to those signs as well. You have to be open to understanding what that actually is. That life is feeding back to you, because if you don't recognize the feedback, then you can get disheartened. So you've got to be open to
Well, you've got to
feedback.
fucking pay attention.
Pay attention.
Open your
exactly.
fucking eyes. Yeah,
but this whole process is about paying attention.
Yeah.
It's about gratitude in the sense that, okay, I want to create. This is gratitude in the sense I want to create the life that I want, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you're going to spend your life, you can spend your life creating a life you don't want, right?
Which
But
most people are doing
most
anyway.
people do anyway without realizing, just unconsciously. Instead of the energy that goes into that can be going into creating the life that you do want.
Yeah.
So the steps here we're talking about is having a vision, right? Connecting and feeling that vision with gratitude, and connecting that vision with a level of gratitude.
Correct.
For most people, a lot of people listening to this, it'll be of R and Y. Otherwise, the greatest level of gratitude you perceive you've
Correct.
Broadcasting that gratitude with intensity, consciously, with frequency, and doing it frequently, and utilizing life as a sign to get back and pay and let you know that you're on track. And then finally, asking for unpredictable signs that you are enmeshed with the fabric of the universe as you're playing with that.
Well, unpredictable signs that catch your attention. Do you know what I mean? That because you already are enmeshed. I just don't want people to do this because you're already doing everything.
Of course,
we're
you're already
telling
doing it. You're putting that focus oftentimes on things that are not maybe not giving you the life that you want, because you're creating. You might be sharing that, the message of lack or the message of want, and so you get more lack or you get more want instead of getting more clarity and more gratitude. Because gratitude, like you said, it's when you're grateful, it's a sign that something's shown up.
Yeah.
So when this happens, it's just a matter of time before it shows up in your physical reality.
Yeah. Completely.
Really cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Even if you live the most extraordinary life, there is always more to learn. This is why tens of thousands of people are using MJB seminars techniques to hack their consciousness and bridge the gap from where they are to where they actually want to be.
MJB seminars use cutting-edge transformational processes that are science-based and backed to help people break through subconscious barriers and limiting beliefs in order to reset, reboot, and live inspired. If you'd like to know more today, Google search MJB Seminars Bridge the Gap, click on the first link and watch the video.
Now, for simply watching the video, you will also receive a complimentary coaching session with one of our master coaches valued at over $600 to help you get traction in your life today. Remember, live life inspired.